My mother-in-law secretly switched my wife's birth control with vitamins for months. Now she's going to jail for reproductive coercion. I, 31 am still in shock as I write this. What happened at tonight's family dinner has left me questioning everything I thought I knew about my in-laws, especially my mother-in-law. My wife and I have been married for 3 years. We've always been clear about wanting to wait to have kids until we're both established in our careers. My wife just started her medical residency, and the timing couldn't be worse for a pregnancy. Her mother, however, has been increasingly pushy about grandchildren. The red flag started appearing about 2 months ago. My mother-in-law began showing up unannounced at our house, often when my wife was at the hospital doing her 36-hour shifts. She'd bring food, saying she was just checking on us and wanted to help with housework while my wife was busy. I thought she was being nice. I was so wrong. Last week, my wife mentioned feeling unusually tired and nauseous. She blamed it on her crazy hospital schedule and stress. Then yesterday, she couldn't keep her breakfast down. Again, we chalked it up to exhaustion. Residents barely get time to eat properly anyway. Tonight was our monthly family dinner at my in-laws' house. Everything seemed normal at first. My wife was picking at her food, still not feeling great. That's when my mother-in-law stood up, clinking her glass with a spoon, this huge smile on her face. "I have wonderful news," she announced. "We're finally going to have a grandchild." My wife dropped her fork. I froze. We hadn't told anyone she might be pregnant because we didn't think she was. Hell, she was on birth control. Before either of us could speak, my mother-in-law continued, looking directly at my wife. "Those vitamins I've been replacing your birth control with must be working. I knew you just needed a little push." The silence that followed was deafening. My wife's face went from confusion to horror as realization dawned. She'd been taking what she thought was her birth control, but her mother had been switching the pills when she cleaned our house. My father-in-law looked as shocked as we were. My sister-in-law started crying, but my mother-in-law just stood there, beaming like she'd done us all a favor. My wife ran to the bathroom. I could hear her throwing up again, though I doubt it was just morning sickness this time. When she came back, her face was pure rage. "How long?" she demanded. "How long have you been switching my pills?" "About 2 months, her mother replied, still smiling. "I knew once you were pregnant, you'd be happy about it. You just needed someone to make the decision for you." I've never seen my wife so angry. She's usually the calm one, the reasonable one. But in that moment, she looked ready to burn the house down. "It's my body," she screamed. "My career. My choice. You had no right." Her mother actually rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. Plenty of women complete their residency while pregnant. And now you don't have to worry about the timing anymore. I took care of everything." I had to physically hold my wife back. She was shaking with rage. Her father finally spoke up, telling his wife she'd gone too far. But she just waved him off, already talking about converting their home office into a nursery. We left immediately. My wife hasn't said a word since we got in the car. She's upstairs right now, calling her doctor to schedule an emergency appointment. I'm in our kitchen, typing this out because I need someone to tell me this really happened. My mother-in-law has been texting nonstop, sending links to baby furniture and nursery ideas like nothing's wrong. Like she didn't just admit to reproductive coercion. Like she didn't potentially derail my wife's entire career. We don't even know for sure if my wife is pregnant. The test she just took was inconclusive. She has another one in the bathroom, but says she can't look at it yet. I can hear her crying upstairs. I need advice. Do we press charges? Is this even something you can press charges for? How do we handle the family fallout? What if she really is pregnant? How do we move forward knowing how it happened? My wife just threw up again. I need to go check on her. We'll update when we know more. Right now, I'm just trying to keep her calm while fighting the urge to drive back to her parents' house and scream at her mother until she understands what she's done. If anyone has dealt with something similar or has legal advice, please help. I'm lost here. Update. The past 48 hours have been a roller coaster. After my last post, things got even more complicated. That night, my wife took 3 more pregnancy tests. All positive. She barely slept, alternating between crying and researching her legal options. I've never seen her so broken, and I've been with her through the hardest parts of med school. The next morning, she went to her doctor friend from the hospital for blood work and an examination. I spent that time meeting with a lawyer who specializes in family law. The lawyer confirmed that what my mother-in-law did is illegal. Reproductive coercion is a crime. We have options for both civil and criminal charges. While we were dealing with this, my mother-in-law had already started spreading the happy news to extended family. My wife's phone was flooded with congratulatory messages. Each one felt like a knife twist. The worst part? Some relatives were praising my mother-in-law for finally making it happen and knowing what's best. Then my father-in-law showed up at our house. He looked terrible, apparently hadn't slept either. He brought my wife's real birth control pills, found them hidden in my mother-in-law's dresser, along with receipts for the vitamins she'd been using to replace them. He also had recorded proof. His wife had been bragging about her plan to one of her friends on the phone, and he'd recorded it. He broke down crying, apologizing for not seeing what his wife was capable of. Said he'd already contacted a divorce lawyer. Turns out this wasn't the first time she'd tried to control their children's lives, just the most extreme example. My sister-in-law called next. She had a confession, 3 years ago, my mother-in-law had tried to do the same thing to her. She caught her trying to switch her birth control, but didn't tell anyone because she thought no one would believe her. She's been on an IUD ever since, specifically so her mother couldn't tamper with it. The real bombshell came from my wife's doctor friend. The blood work confirmed the pregnancy, but there was more. The vitamins my mother-in-law had been giving my wife weren't just vitamins. They contained high levels of folic acid and other prenatal supplements. She'd been preparing for this, planning it meticulously. My wife made her decision. She's pressing charges. Her father is supporting us, providing all the evidence he collected. The lawyer says we have a strong case for reproductive coercion, medical tampering, and emotional distress. But my mother-in-law isn't backing down. When she found out we were pursuing legal action, she sent a mass email to the entire family, playing the victim, called us ungrateful, said she was just trying to help us start our family before it was too late. She even suggested my wife was being selfish for prioritizing her career over family. The family has split into two camps. Most younger relatives are horrified and supporting us. The older generation is more divided. Some think what she did was wrong, but that we're overreacting by involving the law. Others are actually defending her, saying she had good intentions. My wife had to tell her residency director what happened. Thankfully, he's been incredibly supportive. They're adjusting her schedule to accommodate appointments and legal meetings. Several of her fellow residents have offered to swap shifts to help. As for the pregnancy, we're still processing. My wife is barely 6 weeks along. She has options, but she's struggling with the decision. Not because of religious or moral reasons, but because she feels like any choice she makes now isn't really her choice. It's a reaction to her mother's actions. Last night, she finally broke down completely. Said she always imagined being excited about her first positive pregnancy test, sharing the joy with family. Instead, that moment was stolen from her. Even if we decide to continue the pregnancy, it will always be tainted by how it happened. My mother-in-law keeps sending baby items to our house. Onesies, bottles, a crib catalog. Each package goes straight into a box as evidence. Our lawyer says her continued actions show she has no remorse and strengthen our case. The police interviewed her today. According to my father-in-law, she acted completely justified, telling them she had a mother's right to ensure her family's growth. They were not impressed. Charges are being filed tomorrow. We've installed security cameras and changed our locks. My father-in-law warned us she's been talking about coming over to talk sense into my wife. She doesn't seem to understand the gravity of what she's done. My wife's therapy appointment is tomorrow. Her doctor recommended someone who specializes in reproductive trauma and family betrayal. I'll be going to therapy too. We both need help processing this. I'm writing this from our home office while my wife finally sleeps, sedated by anti-nausea medication. Tomorrow, we meet with the lawyer again to discuss restraining order options. Then we have an appointment with an OBGYN to discuss all our options going forward. The hardest part isn't the legal battle or the family drama. It's watching my wife question everything. Every interaction with her mother over the years, every piece of advice, every seemingly kind gesture. Was it all part of some grand manipulation? Her father brought over her childhood photos today, thinking they might comfort her. Instead, she noticed how many showed her mother controlling everything. Her clothes, her hair, her activities. How did I never see it? She kept asking. I'll update again after the legal proceedings start. Right now, I need to focus on supporting my wife through this nightmare. The next few weeks will be crucial, both for the case and for our marriage. For those asking about my mother-in-law's possible mental health issues, her friend apparently suggested therapy years ago. She refused, saying therapists would try to turn her children against her. Ironic, considering she's managed that all on her own. Final update. It's been a month since everything blew up, and I'm still trying to process how much our lives have changed. Some of you asked for an update, so here goes. First, the legal situation. My mother-in-law was arrested last week. Not for the birth control tampering, though that's coming, but because she broke into our house while we were at a doctor's appointment. Our security cameras caught her trying to set up the nursery in our home office. She had somehow gotten a copy of our key. The police found a disturbing amount of baby items in her car. She'd apparently spent thousands of dollars on furniture and clothes. She'd also brought paint samples and had already started moving our office furniture to the garage. The restraining order we'd filed the week before made this a criminal offense. My wife made her decision about the pregnancy. After many tearful discussions and therapy sessions, she decided to terminate. It was an incredibly difficult choice, but she felt she couldn't continue a pregnancy that began with such violation. The hardest part was knowing that under different circumstances, we might have been happy about this pregnancy. When my mother-in-law found out, through family, not us, she had a complete breakdown. Started calling everyone in the family, telling them we murdered her grandbaby. She even posted about it on Facebook, causing a whole new wave of family drama. My wife had to shut down all her social media accounts. The criminal case is proceeding. We've learned some horrifying details during the investigation. The vitamins she used weren't just prenatal vitamins. They contained high doses of fertility supplements too. She'd been planning this for months, researching how to maximize chances of conception. The premeditation makes the charges more serious. My father-in-law's divorce is moving forward. During the proceedings, they found journals where my mother-in-law had detailed her plans, including a timeline for when she expected the pregnancy to happen. She'd even written about which hospital she wanted my wife to deliver at and how she planned to be in the delivery room, no matter what. My sister-in-law came forward with more stories. Apparently, our mother-in-law had been trying to control her fertility for years. She'd throw away condoms she found in her daughter's purse during college, schedule her for regular checkups with an OBGYN who was actually a fertility specialist, and constantly sabotage her relationships with men who didn't want children right away. The family divide has gotten worse. My wife's grandmother, her mother's mother, showed up at our door last week, demanding we drop the charges because family matters should stay in the family. When we refused, she threatened to cut my wife out of her will. My wife's response: "My body is worth more than your money." But there's been some good in all this. My wife's residency program has been incredibly supportive. They've connected her with a mentorship program for women in medicine who've faced family trauma. Her co-residents organized a meal train when she was struggling with the aftermath of the termination. My father-in-law has transformed from a passive bystander into a fierce advocate. He's testified against his wife, provided all her journals and records to the prosecutors, and is working with a therapist to understand how he enabled her behavior for so many years. He and my wife are rebuilding their relationship on new, healthier terms. The most unexpected support came from my mother-in-law's sister. She called us last week, crying, saying she'd enabled her sister's behavior for too long. Turns out my mother-in-law had pulled similar stunts with family friends over the years, always justifying it as helping. She's now working with our lawyer, providing years of evidence of escalating controlling behavior. My wife is healing, slowly. The therapy is helping. She started a private support group with other women who've experienced reproductive coercion. It's small, just 5 members so far, but they meet weekly online. It helps her to know she's not alone, though it's horrifying how common this is. We've moved to a new apartment in a secured building. Couldn't stay in our house. Too many bad memories, and my mother-in-law knew where it was. The new place is closer to the hospital, which helps with my wife's crazy schedule. We're talking about getting a dog. Her therapist suggested it might help with healing. The criminal trial is set for next month. Our lawyer says with the evidence we have, the journals, the recorded phone calls, the security footage, and now multiple witnesses, a conviction is likely. My mother-in-law is looking at serious charges: reproductive coercion, breaking and entering, violation of a restraining order, and medical tampering. She's still not showing any remorse. Her lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal, suggesting she'd admit to the lesser charges if we dropped the medical tampering charge. We refused. My wife wants the full story on record, hopes it might help other women recognize the signs before it goes this far. As for us, we're getting stronger. Last night, my wife talked about having children someday, when we're ready. It was the first time she's mentioned it since everything happened. Not now, not soon, but someday. On our terms. It felt like a tiny piece of our future coming back into focus. My father-in-law is selling the family house. Too many memories there too. He's talking about moving closer to us, maybe getting an apartment in our building. My wife's okay with this. Their relationship is different now, built on honesty and respect instead of fear and control. To everyone who offered support and advice on my previous posts, thank you. You helped us feel less alone during the darkest parts of this. To those who messaged sharing similar stories, I'm so sorry this happened to you too. And to those who questioned why we pressed charges against family, protecting my wife is protecting family. Real family doesn't violate your trust and bodily autonomy. This will be my last update. We need to focus on healing and moving forward. The court case will be hard enough without reliving it online. But I wanted to share where we ended up, in case someone else is going through something similar and needs to know it can get better. My wife is asleep on the couch right now. Actually sleeping, not crying herself to exhaustion like before. Tomorrow, we're going to look at puppies at the local shelter. Small steps toward a new normal. It's not the life we planned, but we're building it together, on our own terms this time.